Yeah, hello everybody. In this tutorial, you will learn about different data types you can use in Python. Every value in Python has a data type, since everything is an object in Python programming. Data types are actually classes, and variables are instance of these classes. So it's either you call it instance or you call it object. So data types are actually classes, and variables are instance or object of these classes. So there are various data types in Python, some of which will be treated in this lecture. So the number one thing we'll be talking about is Python numbers. So let me add this in comments. Now in our subsequent tutorials, I would tell you exactly what this comment means in Python. So integers, floating point numbers, and complex number fall under Python numbers category. So that means under this Python number category, if I'm to add that, okay, under this category we have integers, we have floats, then we have complex numbers. Now in normal mathematics, we know what these are. So I will try to explain this briefly as time goes. So we can use type. We can use this. We can use this to, let's say we write a code, then we want to know the data type of the code we write. So we can use this type function to know which class a variable or a value belongs to. So similarly, we can also use this to check if an object belongs to a particular type. Now in our subsequent lectures, I'll be writing some codes which would explain this. Now I'll be writing my first code now so that you understand what it's trying to talk about. So this would contain my first code. So this will be my first line, which we're writing our first code. Now basically I won't be deleting anything so that it will be very much explanatory. Let's say if a equal to, now I want to assign a to 5. Now I want to print. Now it's okay if you don't understand these codes for now, like okay, exactly what this print and everything mean. In our subsequent lecture, I just want you to follow up with what I'm doing here, so that you'll be able to understand what data type is. Now what I did is that in normal mathematics, I assigned a to 5. That means 5 is the same thing as a. Then I'm printing a. Now in this second line, I'm printing a. That is, anything, I'm telling Python that anything you see in a, you print out. So since a equals to 5, then I'm expecting Python not to print a, but to print 5. So in this, okay, this first one is, it's a variable. Now this second one now, that contains quotes on with a different column, it's called a string, which we will treat in our subsequent class. Then the type I discussed here. So I want to, the main thing of this whole thing is that I want to know the data type in which a belongs to. So I say a equal to 5, then that means I want to know the data type in which 5 belongs to. So if I run this code now with this play button here, I'm supposed to, good, I got 5 is of type then class int. So that means I'm able to know that the 5 belongs to a class integer. So it's so simple like that. Now let's write some other codes as well. I won't be deleting anything in case of anything. I say okay, b equal to, so you can actually use any number you want, and you can also use any alphabet you want for better understanding. So because in programming now you should be rigid with your decisions, so it won't be like you're actually restricted to a point. No. Now let me run the second one. Let's see. Now I assign a bit to 2.0. 2.0 is also a number. What type of number is 2.0? Let's find out. Alright, 2.0 is a float. That means when we see a decimal number, we should know that it's not an integer anymore, but a float. Okay, let's do one more. Let's do one more. Okay. Now it's okay if you don't understand the third one. Let's see what we get when we run this code, so it will be very easier to follow up from there. Oh, I got 1.2j, or 1 plus 2j, which is a complex number, is a complex number. True, fine. That means if we understand it clearly now, sorry for that, right? If you understand this clearly now, that means we understand that this is instance is a lot different from type. So we use is instance to verify or to check if object belongs to a particular class or not. So it always returns true or false. So basically, that's that on that. Now, so integer can be of any length. It can only be limited by the memory available. Let's say, okay, my phone, my just accepts 99 numbers for my integer. Some phones can accept more than that. So it depends on your memory space that you have. So a floating point number, which is float, is accurate up to 15 decimal places. So your float must not be more than 15 decimal places. Integer and floating point are separated by decimals. Okay, so 1 is an integer, 1.0 is a number. So that means the difference between integer and float is a decimal point. Now, complex numbers are written in the form x plus yj, where x or something like this. So we can have complex number in this form. Okay, so for we that are most times in math class, then we definitely will understand what this is. So where x is equal to the real part, and the y is equal to the virtual part. I can as well call the imaginary part. So it's simple like that. So that's that on that. So let me just clear this out and comment. Now, what I did here is that I don't want to. So when I run this, I don't want them to appear in my code. So comments, most times we just use comments as a direction for our code. We don't really most times need comments for anything that we are doing. So basically, so I want to start a new code now. It will be definitely very much easier to follow up. So okay, let me go to my terminal. So sorry, my interpreter to work this out. So now interpreter, for you following up this video with a system, your normal Python 3 or Python 2 has the terminal and the IDE. So you can, what I want to do here, you can do it on your terminal. which definitely you can see when you open your Python, any version. So I say a equal to, I just want to buttress what I've been doing. Okay, okay, a. No, I get my answer. I can also say b equal to let's say 0 points. Then I do them. B, I get my answer as well. I can say c equal to 1 plus 2 j. C, I get my answer. So it's as simple as that. Now you would notice something here. That is, no, okay, basically you will notice it. Well, let's do it this way so you'll be able to notice. Let's say G equal to 0 point G. What do you notice here? You notice that when you count your decimal points, when Python counts the decimal point of my G and it exceeds 15, it approximates. And that's what I'm saying. That your decimal point for your float shouldn't be more than 15. So this is where we draw the curtain for today, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you enjoyed, make sure you use the subscribe button so as to follow up with our subsequent tutorials on this channel. The next time we'll be meeting, we'll be talking about the print, and then we'll move on to the next one. So then, see you then.